Friends, I'm Chris Biffle, also known as Coach B. It is January the 27th, and we've got a great program for you tonight on critical thinking. This is the second in our series on Einstein Triangles. This is program 571. And the great thing about tonight is we are really going to expand the scope and reach of critical thinking. We're going to talk about how to think critically about stories, chapters, books, people, and topics in one go. Here's our book. If you got challenging kids, you might take a look at it. It's on Amazon.com. Over 100,000 registered members, a whole brain teaching, 4 million views on YouTube. We are one of the world's most popular education websites. Our Facebook page is exploding. I think in a couple of years, we'll have 10% of all the teachers in the United States on our Facebook page. If you want a copy of our slides or you need professional development credit, we will supply that at the end of this program. And let's just get right into Einstein Triangles. Now we name these Einstein Triangles because Einstein saw connections that other people had never seen. And so in his honor, we've created a little suite of techniques that may help you and your kids see connections that you may otherwise have missed. Here's our goal, a perfect critical thinking activity. You could use it at any grade level, any subject, any ability. We'll develop kids' speaking and writing skills as well as their thinking skills. Analytical and synthetical, no material purchase, and it would be stinking fun. Let's just stop for a second and take off the glasses. Here's the goal of what we're doing. Any grade level, that's the height. Any subject, music, calculus, students of any ability. A three-dimensional learning space. But in that three-dimensional learning space, kids at every grade level and every subject and every ability need to learn how to think critically. And we'll show you exactly what we mean by that before too long. If that makes sense to you and you're online, give me a 10-finger woo. And wouldn't it be great if the program was free? Yes, my friends, it would be great. So let's look at an actual Einstein triangle. There it is. Compare, green, contrast, red, and connect. Let's get kids to make those three their favorite critical thinking words. And it covers everything. If you compare, contrast, and connect, you've pretty well said everything you need to say. 3 questions. What could you compare to the topic? What could you contrast with the topic? What have we studied that is connected to the topic? 3 simple questions that our youngest and our oldest kids can profit from. For example, what could you compare to the president? What could you contrast with the president? What have we studied that's connected to the president? The comparison question, analytical. Think about the president. What is he or she like? The contrast question, analytical. Contrast, how could you describe something that's very different than a president? And then, synthetical. Bring anything we've studied into connection with presidents. Well, let's stop for a second. You tell me what topic you could help your kids compare, contrast, or connect tomorrow. What topic do you want kids to know more about? I'll look to my online audience to see what they come up with. Well, someone says heat and energy. Oh, that's a good one. The moon, Martin Luther King, making change, the Civil War. Adding ED to words, socialism, autobiography and biography, compare, contrast, and connect. Respiration and fermentation, nonfiction versus fiction, figurative versus literal language, point of view, perspectives, Europeans versus Delaware. That's great, American Revolution. That is so intriguing. What we're doing is, my friends, we're saying there are 8 critical thinking skills, and we've got gestures for each of them. We call them the Elite 8. And once kids start using these words and gestures, they're able to analyze any topic much more deeply. Let's look at the gestures. I'm going to be down here I'm going to be over here. So this is our compare gesture. Let's use this as a synonym for similar, like, or compare. Whenever you use those words, my friends, make that gesture. Here's our gesture for contrast. Different, not alike, contrast. Whenever you use that word, use those gestures. And here's our gesture for links to or connects to. You know, there's a fundamental pattern that a lot of people are using. Talk about how this text connects with another text, this text connects with you, or this text connects with the world. Connects or related to. All right, online audience, give me some examples. Which of those 3 you think you're going to get the most mileage out of tomorrow? Compare, contrast, or connects to. You tell me. What's so great about having an online audience? A lot of connecting. And tell us how you're going to use it. All 3. Contrast. Use whichever of those work. Don't feel like all 3 of them are going to have to work every single time. But whichever ones work, those are the ones that you use. We're going to give you lots of sentence frames to use with these gestures. A lot of connecting. Now here's a couple more gestures for you. Kids love gestures and so do teachers. How about this one? We want kids to clap their hands. Clap your hands whenever you say because. You're giving yourself some applause. Because is an important word. We want kids to generate examples. As a college teacher, I certainly do. So here is the for example gesture. For example. That's the example popper. For example. Also is a great mid-paragraph transition. Also. Here's the next one. You could also say in addition, a synonym for also. And I'm going to stand up for this. There you go. Put your hands on your hips. Let's go to the full screen here. But. But is a tricky word. It means a sentence is going in a different direction. I love whole brain teaching, but I wish the whole world was using it. Soccer is lots of fun, but it's hard work. These are some of the Elite 8 And now also, for but, get them to use however. It means the same thing. Whenever you want your kids to add more information, roll your fingers at them. Just do this, and he's give me another detail, give me another detail, give me another detail. Pretty soon, they're speaking paragraphs. All right, that's the Elite 8. Let's look at them one more time. Compare, contrast, connects to, because clapper, for example, also, but, and more. All right, which of those would you introduce on Monday? Which of those that you haven't done would you introduce on Monday, online audience? More, yeah, more is crucial, because if you can get them doing more, you have got them speaking paragraphs. Because clapper, use that all day long. For example, but with conjunctions, yeah. Now, my friends, let me give you a few more gestures here. You veterans know these other gestures, but whenever you use alike, that's a synonym for compare. Unlike, synonym for contrast. Similar, different, comparison, difference. Use all of those synonyms, same gesture. And here is a little sentence frame. I can compare blank with blank because. Blank is like blank because. Blank is similar to blank because. Blank and blank are alike because. Throw up the sentence frames. Here's some contrast sentence frames. Just get them started in exploring the wonderful world of contrasts. Connects with, connection, relates to, all of those are synonyms. Same gesture shows kids that these are synonyms. Links to, and here are some connection sentence frames. All right, let's stop. Any questions thus far about compare, contrast, and connect and the gestures? Love to have some questions. Any questions I don't get to, the names in red will help you out. We're finding sentence frames work in upper grades and in lower grades. Why is that? Because kids need to think critically, and these are the basics. Compare, contrast, connect, because, and a few more. Now let's do our capital letter gestures. So here's air writing. When kids speak a word, we want them to make a capital letter, lifting one hand off the other. And this is what's great about a live webcast. Here's my capital letter gesture. I love whole brain teaching. There's my period. So then you give them some words to read with capital letter gestures. Here's some more sentence frames to practice capital letter gestures. We drove to California. We drove to California. Here's our gesture for a period. We make this gesture because a period is like a stop sign. And now we can combine the gestures. This is fun, and I want to keep playing. Why do we do this? The reason we do it is because in college, I have kids who are not capitalizing the first word in a sentence, much less proper nouns. and who are not putting periods at the end of sentences. So that tells me maybe we need it in lower grades. Here's some more sentence frame gestures. We want zoop for a comma. You can get kids speaking with commas. They're a short step from complex sentences. So here's a sentence frame. I like apples, zoop, oranges, zoop, and bananas, You see how that flows together? Huge point. If I had my hat on, I'd take it off. I'm just taking off the glasses. New rule in whole brain teaching. Whenever kids are talking to each other, they've got to use one or more of these gestures. You can say, I want you to just work on your capital letter gesture today, or your period gesture, or I want to see those because clappers. We don't just want them talking, we want them talking and air punctuating, oral writing. When they're talking to each other is the best time to build their writing skills. Everybody on board with that? When kids are talking to each other, they should be using a capital letter gesture or a comma gesture or a period gesture or because clapper gesture. Always, Howard Dale. Yes, that gives us way more repetitions. And you can see their minds at work, John Siller points out. With autistic kids, it will work fantastic. So here is a sentence to practice. Capital, period. And in conclusion, we use this gesture for in conclusion, like the umpire, you're safe, the play is over. In conclusion, zoop. Got it? And this one is, this is my favorite. A kid stands up, draws a blank, says, help me. Let's go full screen on this. Kid says, help me, and everyone else chimes in. That way a child knows that they're never in a situation where they're alone. Andre, are you using help me? I bet you are. Kate, how about you? Have you got help me going yet? Blizzard? Who's using help me? If you're not, here's what you're going to do tomorrow. This is huge. I'm taking off the glasses. You talk along and you pretend like you forgot what you're going to say next and you say, help me. They will shout out at you. It's the only time we can shout out in class. So several times a day you do the help me, do the help me, do the help me. And you say, oh, I can't figure that out. Help me. And your kids will then know that it's all right to ask for help. New Mexico gal, you're right. Andre, you're so right. Yes, Kate. And Kate, it's easy to introduce. You're going to have them doing help me all the time. Now, don't worry if your kids don't know what the words mean. That's what Einstein Triangles are all about. And don't worry that we're having lots of synonyms. It's teaching synonyms. And we want you to use class yes, mirror word, teach okay on the scoreboard, and there's some webcasts that you can find out more about them. There's a pacing guide here. You can take a look at it if you download it. We don't know exactly how to pace this. You decide. We're almost ready to get started here. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick any two stories, any two chapters, any two books, any two people, or any two topics. So right now, online audience, tell us, for tomorrow, which two stories, or which two chapters, or which two books, or which two people, or which two topics are you going to play Einstein Triangles with? Two paintings, country mouse and city mouse, weather and climate. Keep them coming, my friends. What are the two topics you're going to compare and contrast and connect? Bernie Williams' story and No Gumption. Two fables. What makes a Rembrandt a Rembrandt? Hurricanes and tornadoes. Circumference and diameter. You've got it. All right, fantastic. Now you're going to love this. So you use a computer projector and you just start. Here it goes. I've done it for you. Just use this PDF. You say, I'm Coach B. Welcome to Whole Brain College. We're going to play Einstein Triangles, a tricky game that challenges my college kids. Let's learn a little about Einstein. And so I put some stuff in here about Einstein. You'll like it that I included some information about Einstein? Einstein tells us who he is in Einstein Triangles. And he talks about his life and about the theory of relativity, and you even get E equals mc squared up there so they know that, oh, that Einstein, that's the one. Now here's a little, we like these little twists. Every once in a while, Einstein appears in the game and he says some stuff, and your kids try to figure out what this Einstein quote means. Tell me, will your kids have fun trying to figure out what on earth Einstein's saying? I think they will. All righty. So here's how it works. It's so simple. Your teacher picks two stories. Two stories. So you put this on the screen. What do these stories make you think about? That's the connection. And then they fill in the sentence frame as many times as possible with the because clapper. What is one way the two stories are alike? They're alike because with the because clapper. This is a sequence just for stories. What is one way they're not alike? Contrast. They're not alike because. There are two ways the stories are similar. They're similar because blank and blank. Now these comparison and contrasts are scaffolded, and because they're sentence frames, kids are filling them in at their own ability. Starts with one comparison, one contrast. Two comparisons, two contrasts. Three comparisons, three contrasts. And then they're ready to compare and contrast. I got to tell you, as a college teacher, I had a heck of a hard time without Einstein Triangles, and I didn't have it, teaching kids how to compare and contrast. The secret is the same as the secret always is. Go in little steps. All right, let's just see how the sequence ends up. What are two ways the two stories are different? They're different because blank and blank. Three comparisons? Those are the three comparisons. Now here's where you have to be careful. Kids will make one mistake. They will include two comparisons or two contrasts that are too much alike. The comparisons are that the stories are funny and make me laugh, and they're exciting. Funny and make me laugh, that's a clinker. Don't let them list two things that are too similar. That's the only mistake. That's the major mistake you have to be careful of. Here are the three contrasts. The contrasts I see are blank, blank, and blank. Compare and contrast these two stories. They're similar because blank, blank, and blank. Also, in conclusion, there's a little paragraph about similarities. There's a little paragraph about contrasts. And now, do the whole thing. There's what we're pointing towards, and this will work in little steps from kindergarten up. Look at that essay frame. One story is about, the other story is about. The stories are similar because, for example, also they're different because. That's an incredible frame. Lisa made these into anchor charts. Do it. And then talk about connections. Really, that's the whole thing right there. Listen to me. It doesn't matter whether we talk about 2 stories, 2 chapters, 2 books, 2 topics, or 2 people. The sequence is the same, and I've set up the sequence for you. The next sequence is about chapters, I think, or books, but it's exactly the same thing. Oh, I forgot. Here comes Einstein. Check this out. Tell me if your kids will dig it. Einstein says, only a life lived for others is worth living. And then what we want is, we want kids to stop for a second and meet the first Einstein challenge. Talk to your neighbor, what on earth is the famous scientist saying? Einstein is saying blah, 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 for example, also. Tell me, my online friends, will your kids dig trying to figure out what Einstein's saying? This program is simplicity in itself. So now we just go on to 2 chapters. Compare, contrast, connect, become the next Einstein. Let's skip down. Let's don't do 2 chapters. I'll just show you it works with 2 anything. We could do 2 books. See? I'm going to go through these fast. Books make me think about. 2 books are alike. They're alike because. They're not alike. They're not alike because. 2 similarities. 2 differences. 3 similarities. 3 differences. 3 differences. Compare and contrast them. Speak a paragraph about similarities, a paragraph about differences, and then put it all together. Same sentence frame with lots and lots of gestures. You see that? And then what are the connections? Now here's an Einstein quote. Put your hand on a hot stove for a minute. It seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour. It seems like a minute. That's relativity. And your kids then try to figure out what Einstein is saying. Pick 2 people. Same sequence. I'll go fast now. Watch. Same sequence. 2 people. How are they alike? How are they not alike? How are 2 ways they're similar? 2 ways they're different? 3 ways they're similar? 3 ways they're different? Compare and contrast the people. Speak a paragraph in comparison, paragraph in contrast, and then sum it all up. And obviously it will work the same way with a topic. I think topic might be the most used in science. Anyone who's never made a mistake has never tried anything new, says Einstein. Now you pick 2 topics, same thing. Topic 1 and topic 2. What's it make you think about? How are they alike? They're alike. They're different. You get it? My friends, do you get it? Same sequence. One comparison, one contrast. Two comparisons, two contrasts. Three comparisons, three contrasts. Put it all together. Talk about the comparisons. Talk about the contrast. Do an essay frame on anything. That's what I meant at the start. Any grade level, any subject, any ability. That's universal critical thinking. Jeff Battle, do you get it? Jeff, how have you been using this? Jeff, how much of this have you seen right now? You must be going crazy with this topic thing. Compare, contrast, put it together. Speak a comparison, contrast essay. Let's look at these. Jeff, are your kids doing also gestures and butt gestures? And for example, if Battle uses it, I know it's good. He liked it from the start. Ms. White, it's been a struggle for you. Do you think your kids can do this? So compare and contrast the topics. So that, I'm interested in some questions now, my friends. Some of you might want these slides. If our webcasts were for free, I would keep giving away stuff for free. I do occasionally have to make a few simoleons. So if you want these slides, go to wholebrainteaching.com. This is program 571, and I'm loaded up and ready. If you want them tonight, I'll get them to you tonight. And here's the PayPal window at wholebrainteaching.com. And I'll throw in a professional development certificate. Oh my goodness, what a deal. Give me some questions. Questions or comments? What are you thinking now about Einstein Triangles? Last week we talked about how you can use them with cartoons and paintings, very beginning. This week we talked about how you can use them with any subject. Next week we're going to turn it into Freeform critical thinking. Taking off my glasses. Next week is huge. Freeform critical thinking. That means I'm going to show you how to teach your kids to think critically without the essay frame. That's what we mean. We want kids to just look at a subject and analyze it and take it apart and join it with other subjects and bring in other information and think up examples and have qualifications and give us more free-form critical thinking, the ultimate in critical thinking skills next week. This is my excitement gesture. Who's excited to learn how to do free-form critical thinking with Einstein Triangles? I'm looking online to see what my online audience has to say. This is program number 571, my friends. And there's the information. Jeff, I am really interested in seeing what you can do with free-form critical thinking, because that's where it should go. Andre, you're right. It's my science guys who really see the power of this. Both Jeff and Andre have been jumping up and down about compare, contrast, and connect. Freeform critical thinking. And Jeff, you haven't seen the freeform critical thinking yet. Any questions, my friends? All right. So, my friends, this is a power-packed broadcast. Universal critical thinking, any grade, any subject, any ability. And next week, it gets better. Critical thinking without sentence frames, without teacher holding your hand, just thinking, raw thinking. All right, that about does it for tonight. I would appreciate it if you keep your prayers coming. My family is in ongoing need of prayer, seriously, and we do appreciate, my wife and I appreciate it so much. We will have a national conference June 16th to 18th in Pineville, Louisiana. We will put up a link so that you can register. So let's just have your names and places flow down the screen. Where are you from? Where are you from? Washington, San Diego, Los Angeles, Evansville, Canton, Covina, Yuba City, Milton, Delaware, Lafayette, Louisiana, the cold and dry Nebraska Panhandle. My friends, if you think you, listen to me, this is new, if you think you can put together a small group of outstanding teachers, let me do a Skype with them. Let's do a little training of trainers. I'll do 2 Skypes. Do them for free. How do you get a hold of me? Well, you know what? I think in this PDF, I have a way for you to get a hold of me. There it is. Send me an email, chrisbiffle@wholebrainteaching.com. Convince me that you've got a small group of teachers who would love to have 2 free Skypes on whole brain teaching. I've set up Thursday as my free Skype day, and I'd love to help out, but my Thursdays are filling up. chrisbiffle@wholebrainteaching.com. Let me know. Let's keep helping each other out. So, my friends, it's power to the teachers. Coach B, as always,